Okay, so it's been a while. It's April, beginning of April now, and this is where we're at. Tank's very healthy, water's super clear, the ecosystem's kind of fallen into its own rhythm now, which is nice. I don't have to worry about this tank really any, and just sort of let it do its thing. The Kabumba did all die. We pulled it out. I put in some Sessiflora back there and some transplants from other tanks. You can see it's a little bit of a mess. I cut it back not that long ago, so it's taking some time to grow in. A couple things I've learned here. Some plants, although they look fantastic, I just don't want to deal with anymore. The Sessiflora looks great when it's that bright, vibrant green and it comes out, but then what happens as it sits in the water, the algae gets on all the little finer leaves and creates sort of a web, and it gets this brown look like you can kind of see in this area here. I don't like it. And then the Anubis, you can clearly see on the Anubis leaves just how much algae. And if we go over the top, I mean, look, you can see the new leaf and the old leaves. So I'm just kind of done with certain plants. I like the boost and that sort of thing that we have upstairs. The crypts down here look great. All the fish are healthy. Got rid of most of the guppies. I've kept one pair just in case. But this tank is probably coming down by the end of the year, and we'll get to that. So moving on, here is the shrimp tank, doing very well. Lots of babies in here, lots of generations. Colors look pretty good. I mean, it's hard to tell. It takes a couple of months for them to fully color. Most of these are maybe a month old, the oldest generation. But I know it's hard to tell right now, but it's pretty busy in here. There's a lot in here. This tank is very, very healthy right now. It just chugs along. I don't even think about it. I just add food to it. But I think size is going to be an issue. So I think what I've decided is we're going to try and breed these for some money. And that brings us to this. So the plan is to put 2 here, 1 down there, and another 2 here, and we'll pull that tank out and convert it to a 20-gallon long. So first, let's talk about this one. Obviously, this has been up for a while because you can see the albinos swimming around. This is 2 or 3 weeks old. I don't remember. I feel like it's 3, but Michelle says it's 2. I don't remember. It's starting to settle in nice. The plants are getting little roots on them, like you can see down here. And if you look at the S. repens, you can see little roots going down into the soil from some of them. This is going to be the red cherry shrimp's new home. I'm still waiting for the tank to sort of mature a bit. Looks like the fish are doing pretty good. I put the autos in here the other day. So maybe next week we'll start moving the colony over carefully. Hopefully it's settled in at that point. I think it'll be okay. You can see the water still a little cloudy. I think that's just some bacterial bloom or die-off. I don't know which. Tank tests fine, so I'm not too fussed about it. It is a sign to me that we're not ready for shrimp. If we're still going through new tank startup issues like bacterial blooms and that sort of thing, then no matter what I think, we're not ready for shrimp. I want to get that over with and get the water. You can see this is clear. It's nice, it's clear, but that looks like glass. So we're not ready yet. But we're working on it. We're getting there. We got the almond leaves in. It's all ready to go. Hopefully that S. repens will grow into a nice carpet, sort of a bushy-like carpet. And these taller ones will just spread out. There's one in behind the driftwood there. I've put the Java moss at the top of the driftwood. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. And then we had to add these little, see that little ring? That's airline tubing. And what I've decided is rather than put the floating plants in the middle of the airline, I just put the airline around the stupid outlet so that the bubbles pop within that space, and then we don't wreck the floaters, which I wrecked quite a few of them before I came up with that idea. But yeah, they don't like, this is my issue with sponge filters. Floating plants are kind of a necessity for these tanks. They're the bulk of the filtration, and man, they do not like getting wet. And sponge filters with the bubbles popping all over the place. I realize, you know, we shouldn't have a lot of bubbles, and maybe that's not terrible right now, but initially we had quite a few. And that brings us to this tank. Let's try to come down here. Oh, okay, so this tank, this is a whole different deal. We're about a week on this one. You can clearly see the film that's just taken over everything in this tank. That's from the wood leaching proteins, carbs, whatever, into the water, and molds or fungus taking over it. This will dissipate in time. You can also clearly see the water quality in here. Pretty cloudy right now. Everything's kind of got a layer of grossness on it. I want to try and let this sort itself out. Sometimes just doing multiple water changes just continues to create the problem, because you add fresh nutrients into the water with every water change, and I don't know, it's problem after problem. Not sure what to do. I didn't expect this to cloudy up this bad. I knew the wood would get bad. I didn't expect it to leach so much into the water that we started to get a coating on rocks and leaves and whatnot. So I'm monitoring this pretty close right now. We'll see what happens. You can see I've got weights on the wood. We had an issue. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. Michelle was here for that. It was unpleasant, to say the least. Nothing like getting the aquascape set up just the way you want it. Just perfect and looking great, and then just as the tank fills up, all the wood floats to the top and just ruins everything. This tank looks so much better when I had it set up the first time. So that's going to take some time. You can see I've got it planted now. Put some floaters in the top, some almond leaves that haven't sunk yet. So yeah, this is just in the process of starting to cycle in. I've tossed a few, you know, snails from my other tanks. No, just your basic bladder pest snails. Just to start breeding and working on cleaning up some of the mess. They won't get very much, they're too small. Maybe we'll get some snails this weekend or next weekend, I'm not sure. But this tank, I'm probably going to put some oranges in here, some orange red cherries. And then I have ideas for the next one that's going to be beside it. We're going to do some black lava rock with some black bottom, and then a carpeting plant, and maybe some bright green plants, and we'll put the yellow ones in there. I think that'll look good. But yeah, so we're just going to start getting set up for breeding different kinds. It's going to take a bit. Figure it'll take 3 to 4 weeks for each tank to cycle in. These ones are spaced a week or two apart. Probably won't start another tank for another 2 weeks. Budget too, right? It gets expensive. Tanks, substrates, lights, filters, plants. Dear God. Plants are expensive, but I did find a place where the quality that you get, I mean, you can see the plants in here. These are all new. All these down here, they're all new. The quality that I get is fantastic. They're, like I said, they're not cheap, but the quality is fantastic. I don't really have any complaint. Only the crypts. These crypts, you can see they're not quite green. They were, truthfully, a little yellow when I got them. This was from the 1, 2, 3 grow pack. Maybe I got an old one. I don't know. I don't even fully know if I can expect that to live. They don't look great, but then crypts, a week or two in have a tendency to melt. So it's also possible that they'll just come back from the roots and be successful. I don't know. I stuffed this in here. It was in the tank upstairs. It went to the other tank down here. I can't seem to find anywhere this thing wants to do very well. It just sort of keeps dying and tossing leaves off. But I don't know. We'll keep trying. I think that was some kind of a boost, something different that just got tossed in with another order I had. And so far, it's not doing very good. But yeah, this is a really basic setup. They're not crazy. I mean, I know that looks ridiculous, but if you really look here in this corner is actually pretty open. I get a couple of nets in that corner, so if I'm target feeding the shrimp, I can drop some food in that corner and pick them up. Same thing here. You see I've added this little almost like beachfront area here. All these tanks will have something like that. I'm not going for... I mean, I want them to look nice because I want to enjoy the hobby. I don't want to just do something to make money off of it. And the plants are most of the filter. I can sell them as they mature. I can take cuttings and sell them. So, I mean, it is planted in such a way to make money and breeding. I mean, all of them, they all have stem plants that I can cut and sell and make money from. The rest of them are sort of low maintenance, bucephalandras, stuff like that won't grow crazy fast, that I don't need to deal with. Just, every now and then go in there with the scissors, chop everything down level and sell the stems and sell some shrimp. But I want it to be enjoyable. I don't want it to be just something I'm doing for money. So that's where we're at. The tank upstairs still is kind of one of my favorite tanks. It just chugs along, producing food for the betta to eat with the cherry shrimp. I think he's killing some of the adults from time to time too. Over the last few weeks, every now and then I find a dead one in there being eaten by the other ones. I'm not sure what's going on. The water parameters are okay. Everything looks good. I think just either natural death, natural reasons, or the betta got a hold of one of them. But I mean, I'm not too worried. They're a Skittles tank, and they were bought more for, I won't say entertainment, but more to... I didn't want to start a colony upstairs. I wanted something to maintain the tank, help, keep things clean, maintain some interest. And if it feeds the betta occasionally, then that's what it is. That's his tank anyways. The guppy's not too happy there, but I got nowhere else to put him. I was going to breed guppies in here. I know it's done with shrimp, but I feel like the shrimp are where I'm going to make the money, and I don't need predator fish in here eating up my profits. Now, down the road, I might try it when I start to get an idea of how successful the colony might be, but overall, right now, the only fish I really want in these tanks is some kind of a cleanup crew. I've got my albino cories in here because they stir up the gravel really, really good, which is great for a sponge filter because they kick that stuff in the water column and then it can pull it out. I'll probably do something similar down here. I don't know if I'm going to go with albino cories or clown loaches. Honestly, it'll probably be cories. They're just so good at sifting up the sand and kicking crap into the water column, and that's really what you need. And I mean, truthfully, I know they're ugly little fish, but I kind of like them. They're kind of active. They're cool. So that's where we're at. I don't know why I do these updates, to be honest. I'm the only one interested in this stuff, really. I mean, Michelle comes down here and looks from time to time, and I think she likes them, but I don't know. We all need a hobby, I guess, and I always liked having fish. I just didn't have the patience to do it right when I was younger. I still don't have patience. But, I mean, clearly, I've managed to make it work. I mean, all 3 tanks I set up this time around have been successful. had an issue with any of these three. I haven't had crazy fish die-offs. I haven't had ick. It's been great. It's overplanting them like this and then just sort of letting them chug along their own ecosystem works. The snails are not super crazy bad. I mean, that looks like there's a lot of snails, but a lot of that is the substrate that poked through the sand. I obviously didn't do it deep enough. Oh, you can see there's a little. Oh, there's the two little ones. the baby guppies down there, and our pygmy Cory, who I still can't find anybody's for at the pet store. But you can see there's a couple of snails and that sort of thing. But honestly, they're not out of control. Doing a good job keeping things clean, given the only thing I did do in this tank is with that algae issue. I really didn't realize it until it was too late, because it was kind of only happening on the Anubis, but it was far too much light, far too bright. Most of these lights now are at about like 30% intensity on the white light, maybe 10 or 15 on the blue light for, I don't know, 12 hours a day, which still might be too high. Maybe it might be too high for these. These are shallower. I'm not sure yet, but I've set them all the same, and we'll see. But you can see there's still string algae. It's still on that driftwood. It's making me crazy. I don't know why. It's irritating. I tried putting the carb out in here to negate that, but that string algae has got a good hold. Now, I haven't done too much with it because it hasn't gone anywhere else. I'll probably deal with it later. I'm not overly concerned, but like I said, this tank's going to come down. I'll probably keep some of the plants that are in here. I'll keep all the crypts. They're doing good. I might pull out some of the temple grass and some of the bacopa over here in the side. Honestly, I think the Sessiflora and the Ludwigia, I think that's what the red stuff is called, I might just get rid of. Like I said, I like it. I love it when it comes in that brilliant, beautiful, bushy green like that, and they're all thick, and then they turn into like this long one where all the leaves are far apart. It starts growing these side shoots, 2 inches away from the top. And then it gets like this stuff down here, where it gets all brown at the bottom because the algae is on it. And I just don't, it's more maintenance than I want to get into. So they're great when you're just getting that tank established and they're sucking all the nutrients out of the water and everything. But, while everything else is getting a root system established. But long term, I want something easier to maintain. I want to be at this every week or every couple of weeks trying to make it look pretty. So I think we're going to make some changes. I've been kind of trying to do that with these tanks. Most of the stuff that I've got in here is not high maintenance stuff. It's not super crazy fast growing. Hopefully we'll take care of that with the surface plants. Same thing down here. Like I know some of the red Ludwigia, those they don't look very red right now. They're more green. They'll grow kind of quick. And I put some of the Ludwigia in the back there a little bit just to help the tank get established, while it starts to cycle in first few months, and then I'll probably rip it out. I won't need it anymore. The tank will be established and the rest of the plants will take over, much like this one is done and this one over here. I mean, really, there's no fast growing plants in that one except the water sprite. There's a little Ludwigia in there, but that's where we're at. I don't know why I keep doing these. Maybe I'm just afraid I'll forget something important. I go back and watch them to find out. Everything else going on in the world right now, you wouldn't think to make a video nobody's going to watch about your aquariums, but I gotta say, I got a pretty good wife. I've kind of taken over the basement with aquariums and funny fishy smells, and she's okay with it so far. She knows my plan to sort of extend this whole thing into aquariums, and she hasn't said anything about it. I know she doesn't like the money I'm spending on it, but I gotta do something. Can't sit here and worry about the end of the world all day long. At least this takes everybody's mind off it for a while. Something calming about almost like a little portal into a different world, right? They don't know anything that's going on. They don't care. Anyway, yeah, before I get all weird about it, I think I'll just end the video here. And, yeah. It's all turned out pretty good. I'm impressed. I don't really have that kind of success with this stuff, but doing some reading, listening to some videos, watching a lot of MD's tanks and how he does things. I know he comes off looking very carefree about it, but he's got a system and it works. A little bit of advice from Father Fish and a bunch of other places. I mean, I love this tank. I really do. It's just, it just runs so well. The water's so clean. The plants do great. The fish are healthy. I just hate the way it looks. I did such an awful job when I set this tank up. I really did. I didn't understand how big some of the stuff was going to get or what it was going to look like when it changed. I'm kind of looking forward to setting up a new tank for these guys. I'm going to reuse some of the elements like the driftwood and that, but I'm kind of looking forward to doing it over, you know. I should say none of these tanks, none of these shrimp tanks, none of these shrimp tanks are dirted tanks. I'm still not sure how that works with shrimp. I know there are shrimp in here that are doing okay. I even saw one the other day with babies, so some of the shrimp in here did survive whatever the die-off was about. But if I'm going to breed them, I don't want unknown variables. So when I redo this, I'm really gonna I'm still gonna do a dirted tank. I still love the way that works, even though it was a pain in the ass in the beginning with the blooms and the algae and all that. It just, I mean, look at that tank. It just looks so good. I mean, the reds even, you know, like look at the reds on that plant, you know, like there's not a lot of red in here, but I mean, it looks so good. I know I can do something better with this with a dirted tank. So anyways, not sure when I'll update this again. Still don't really know why I'm doing it, but that's where we're at for now.